Welcome to round three. Before we start this round, I have a few clarifications that I have to make. Some mistakes that were made in round two. I forgot to when the archers were over here and they were charged by Sir Cratch's unit. When they were charged by Sir Cratch's unit up here, I forgot to do their sword attacks on Cratch's unit. I went straight through to rolling the break test, and I didn't do the attacks on Cratch's unit. So off camera, I made the rolls. They didn't get any hits at all, or they at least got one hit. And I think and Sir Cratch's unit defended that hit. And then the other thing that I did was I also forgot Sir Cratch's horse, his war horses attacking in that same combat on the follow-up combat as well. So in the follow-up combat, I forgot to do the no archers attack on the knights, and I forgot to do the horse attacks on the archers that are routed over there. I went back, I made the rolls for both, and none of it mattered. None of the horses, none of the war horses hit anyway. So it's all good. Everything would remain the same. They got a run order and they're still routed. The Null War Master has to make a he has the Pack Lord Varric has to make an agility test. He has to take an agility test because he sprinted and um, I didn't do the his agility test for when he sprinted. So we're going to make that test right now. We'll do a quick agility test for him. He's agility 5. He has to roll 5 or under. A 6. So he's going to take a pin. He'll take one pin for failing his agility test for sprinting in round 2. Also, Sir Cratch's unit sprinted. They sprinted as well, and they didn't take an agility test. So we're going to roll for them too. And Sir Cratch's unit has an agility of 4. So we're going to roll that now to see if Cratch takes a pin or not. I got a smaller dice tray. No, they take a pin as well. So now we're all evened up. We're back to what should be in game. Also, I have to make a casting clarification with spells. And when I initially had given them, I gave Father Abuziel a fire order, and basically that's not what happens. So what happens is in spell casting in Warlords of Erewhon, you take an action first, and if you fail that action, you go down. You can cast a spell. So essentially, spell casting, or in this case, a divine casting, you take an action first, and then you have the option of casting a spell after a successful action. You can take an ambush action. You can also cast a spell as a reaction as well, as long as you didn't cast something. You can only essentially just cast one spell per turn. That's the cap on it, right? So what has to happen here is so they could have taken Father Abuziel could have taken a run order, but I'm going to give him an advance order, and I'm going to keep. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to keep him advanced. I'll give him an advanced order, and I'm just going to move him up to just behind the Sir Cratch's unit. So we're going to move them up, and not too far up, but just enough to so it wouldn't interfere with any other moves we made. That would be an advance order for him. And then he would cast after that when he would have cast his bolt of righteous steel at that point. So essentially that's what happens. And if he would roll to cast, he of course he made the cast, but if you miss the cast, you can attempt to push it. Essentially, you can try to recast it. You get one shot at that. If you are able to do it, your spell goes off. It doesn't, it fails, and there's nothing else you can do about it. You can attempt to cast it one more time, but it'll take a pin for exerting themselves. It's the same thing with if it's whether it's arcane and whether it's divine. In this case, it's divine. Also, opposing wizards can usually dispel one another, but in my game, because I use divine spells, okay, and like Father Abuziel uses divine spells, and the shaman he uses arcane spells. So he cannot do and he's not in line of sight anyway, but he's not able to he could not do a attempt to dispel Father Bizzle's um, casting because his is divine and that's arcane, and it's vice versa, right? So Father Abuzio cannot attempt to dispel the shaman's Immore's spells, who's behind the hotel over here. He can't try to dispel more spells because he's arcane. He uses arcane spells. So I just want to clarify that real quick. I'm going to pick up the dice, and that covers everything, and everything's up to par, and nothing's changed from round two, which is good. That didn't taint the game in any way. And I'm going to pick up the dice, and we will continue to round three here in a moment. At the beginning of round three, we're going to do. I have optional narrative events that I'm using, and I do this on turn three. I was doing it on every turn, but I'm not doing it now. So we have optional narrative events to see what's going on, to see what happens in round three. So essentially, we'll roll a d6 and refer to the chart that I made, and we'll see what random event comes up. We'll go down here. D6 4. Heroic arrival. All right. So what that means is heroic arrival says a late night scout or village militia unit enters from a random table edge. So what we'll do is we'll look at the table edges over here. We're going to go. This will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, I'm going to D4 here. See what side they come in at, and side 2. So if they're going to come in on the null side, well, they got to come in at least 20 inches away. So we'll do that. They're going to come in on the far side. They're going to come in over here, somewhere along that edge. And the other thing we have to do is just briefly talk about the special rules for this scenario in particular. The church doors, once again, they have 6 structure points. At the start of each null turn, one designated null unit may attempt to break them. They have to use their action to break down the doors. You roll a d6 for every model within 1 inch of the doors, and every 5 or 5 plus removes 1 structure point. At 0 points, the doors burst open, and they can take control of the villager token that's inside the church. The token inside doesn't move. And any friendly cleric unit, like Father Abuzio down here, any friendly cleric unit within 6 inches of the church gives a +1 morale or +1 command to any of the Shieldland units. Uh, a null unit can spend a full activation in contact with the token once they get to it to seize it. Once seized, the token is carried by the null unit. No, they can't run and they can't sprint. If the unit's destroyed, the token drops where it is. And their goal is to get that token off of the break Shieldland Knights and uh, to get the token off of the table. Now, all of the Shieldland Knights have nightly resolve. The first time a Shieldland unit fails a morale check, they can re-roll it once per game. So every unit can get a free re-roll on a morale check or a break test. And the Knolls have the Blood Moon. They have the Blood Moon Frenzy. Once the church doors are reduced to 2 structure points or fewer, all null units gain +1 to advance and run orders. So they get +1 to their advance and run orders, and they get +1 to melee attacks on the turn that they charge. But these doors have to be reduced down to 2 points, 2 structure points left, and that's pretty much it. So we have a surprise knight unit coming onto the table, which is going to be interesting. A late night scout or village militia unit. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, it's going to be a knight. night unit. 3-4 is going to be a scouting unit or a scouting unit of some sort, or 5 or 6 a militia, village militia unit, or a yeoman unit, a commoner unit. Okay, it's going to be a militia unit coming in, so we'll go and see who that's going to be. All right, so yeoman who came on was Yeoman Huff's unit, Yeoman Huff's longbowmen. They came onto the table over on this edge, over on that edge. What they were doing was they were tracking the Knoll tracker unit and the hyenas. They followed them around, and they broke out onto the battlefield here. So their die will be added to the bag, and we will officially start round 3 momentarily. You could see Huff's unit all the way over there, and that's it. Let's get it going. First up, mix them up here real good. Knights. Let's see what we got here. All right, well, they can't get into those doors, so that's like a big deal. We're going to go right into it. We're going to have Earl Guilford charged right into Pack Lord Varric the Red Eye. He's looking for some more glory and honor, so we're going to give them a run order. And then we're going to get them into the fight. And I know for sure they're well within well within 16, so they don't have to sprint. And they are going to charge into Varric, and they're going to go toe to toe. So I'm going to move the banner over here temporarily and get these guys moved up. Guilford's like, let's cut off the head of the snake, so to speak. And they rush up with their lances. Now they're getting to use their lances because this is a new combat against a different enemy, and they've got their lances back. Okay, so you have to consider they have squires and like non-combatants helping them along the way, and they got new lances for this attack. Let's move them up. This is going to be fun. This one here. This is the big one. The big one. It's the big one. So we're going to go over to here. I'm just going to go right over to the die tray. I got a new die tray, nice and small. So we can. All right. So for Sir Guilford and his knights charging in, they're going to be using their lances. They're going to be strength 5 with their lances. They're going to get, here's 4 dice for the knights. I'm not rolling them yet. I'm just sticking them in here. 4 dice for the knights. Sir Guilford, the Earl of Raynald, he gets 3 because he's 3 hand to hand. He gets 3 by himself. And then we are going to throw in the war horses. That's going to be 5 war horses charging in, and these are the war horses. Okay? So, Sir Guilford and the knights, they're strength 5. They're running in with lances. Lances don't give them any strength bonuses, but they do give them, because they're on a charge, they get a strike value of 3. So we would take 3 off of the Knoll's resistance, which is really good. So the horses are also looking for 5s. So everything on here, we're looking for 5 and under. Okay. If they were using their swords, we'd be looking for 6s because 6s give +1 to strength. So we're looking for 5s on all these. See what's going to happen. This is a big one. We're looking for fives. Nope. 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 No. 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 Okay. So we have Sir Reynolds hits for two. One of the war horses hits for one, and then two of the knights hit. So now we're going to drop over to Pack Lord Varric. Varric and his crew, his Null Guards, uh, they are resist 8. I'm looking at his keywords to make sure I'm not missing anything, and I am not. They're light armor, so they are. Yes, their resistance is 8. Now, Varric himself is tough, so he's tough 3. He gets to re-roll 3 hits on him, right? He can re-roll failed resist test. So we're going to assign these to. Let's take a look here. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 1, 2, 3. There's going to be 2 extra hits put onto Varric himself. So we're going to do those 2 onto Varric himself, and then of course you have 1 on each. 1, 2, 3. Well, there's 3 of them, so we got 1 on Varric, 1 on one Null Guard, 1 on the other Null Guard, and then we're going to give these other 2 onto Varric because of his strength. So we're going to look at the other 2 guys first, but they only have their big axes and they have light armor. So we're going to roll those 2 guys first, and they need an 8 or under for this. But because the knights are using their lances, they get that's going to be a -3 or a +3 for that matter. They get their lances give them a strike value of 3 on a charge. So we're looking for 8, 7, 6, 5. 5 is an under in order for them to live. Okay. We have 1 that is good, and then 1's a failure. So let's get 1. We're going to mark this one as a failure. On Varric, he is going to need a 8, 7, 6, 5 as well, but he can re-roll. He's tough 3. He can re-roll 3 failed resist tests. So let's see what happens here. He can't re-roll, but he passes all of them. He rolled 4s on everything, so he doesn't have to. So essentially, we only lost 1. They're going to take a pin for that. Let's go over and mark that now. All right, let's move this up here a little bit so we can see what's going on. So they're going to lose 1. They'll take the pin. They're going to lose 1 of these guys. He's out. He's out of commission. He's down. He gives them another pin, but they all get to fight back, right? So in the follow-up, in the continuing combat here, we're going to have Varric and his Gnolls get to fight back. So the Gnoll Chieftain, he is 3 hand to hand. So he's going to get, the Gnoll Chieftain's going to get 3. He's wound 2. He has a big axe, which is strike value 2. They all have big axe. The whole unit has big axes. They're all strike value 2. And that's going to be tough on the knights. It's going to be really tough on the knights. But the Gnoll Guards only get 1 attack each. So here's the 1 for each guard. Even the guard that got knocked down, he still gets to fight here. So let's see what happens here. Okay. Now, the knights, let's see, there's going to be, the knights are resist 6, 9, 9 with their armor. And they have nothing that can reduce their armor or to ignore their armor. Oh, and the Gnolls, I'm sorry, the Gnolls were strength 6. Their big axes don't give them a bonus to their strength, so they're strength 6. So they're looking for 6 or unders. That's a miss. That's a miss. This is a miss. We have 2 hits. So we got Pack Lord Varric hit twice. And who's going to take these? Well, who do you think's going to take it, right? Sir Guilford sticking with it in his face, charging him one on one in the big combat here, punching each other in the face, stabbing each other, slashing away like a bunch of nuts. Yep, you know it. You absolutely know Sir Guilford's going to be up in the front of this. He's going to take the hit. He has a resistance of 9. He's tough too, so he can reroll 2 of these. You can't reroll. You can only reroll 1 die. Reroll it once. And he's wound 2. Okay, but he's resist 9. So we're looking for, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. And the big axe is a strike value 2, 9, 8, 7. So we're looking for 7s or under for Guilford here. The Earl. Let's see. He needs 7s or under. Boom, nothing. They take nothing. Bounces off of him. Guilford wins that combat. Guilford smacks him in the mouth. He's like, nah, I don't think so, you big, ugly, dog looking thing. And the Knights win that combat. So, what we got to do now is, considering that they had won, Pack Lord Varric was defeated in combat. He has a command of 8. They need to make a break test because they lost that combat. So, and they have 2 pins on them. So we're looking at a 7, 6, 6 or under to pass, or there's going to be some issues. A 4, he passes, no problem. All right, so that takes care of that. And now Guilford and his retinue are going to, instead of consolidating because they won the combat, they get to choose. They're going to press the combat again. They're going to press in more. They're going to try to take. They're going to try to take out Varric. So we're going to go with Guilford with 3 dice. We have 4 war horses, and we're going to have 4 knights. 4 knights rolling in. Yeah, that's Guilford. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more for the horse. 1 more for the horses. Now it's a little bit different this time because they're all going. Because once again, they use their lances. They can't use them again. They threw them to the ground or broke them until they're resupplied in the new combat. So I used that rule for myself, and I think there may be some mention of it somewhere else I had seen, but I like that idea because if you try to imagine, a group of knights rushing in and actually making contact with armor and stuff with those lance tips and different things, of course they're going to shatter, right? Or impale one of them. They killed one of them. So they drop their lances and they draw their long swords, right? And they just, for the shield lands, and they start swinging their long swords. Now the good thing about this is the knights with the long shields, or the knights with their long swords, are strength 6, so they can roll 6 and under instead of 5, which is really good. So they're going to be using their long swords. They're going to be 6 and under. The horses are still going to be 5 and under. The horses, of course, are the gray dice. So here we go. So we're looking for 5 or unders for the horses. That's 1, 2, 3, and these are 2 misses for the horses. And then for the knights, we're looking for 5s or under. Nope, nope, nope. Guilford missed everything. We got this miss and this miss. I'll have to go back and double check that. Okay, I went back and I double checked my rolls on the video here. I went back and checked. Guilford did hit because you rolled 2 6s. So we have 2 hits for Guilford, 3 hits for the horses, and 3 hits for the knights. Knights needed 6 and under. Guilford needed 6 and under. Horses needed 5 and under. So there we go. We're good now. Sorry about that. It happens, All right. So now we go to Pack Lord Varric, and he needs. Let's see. We got a lot of hits here, so we're going to do 1, 2. We're going to do 1 to the 1 knoll, 2 to Varric. This will be Varric. This will be the other knoll. And we're literally going to pile. We'll put Guilford's, of course, on Varric. We got a lot of here. We're going to give Guilford's horse a hit on him. We're going to give the other horse a hit on him, and then we're going to give these three on to the other Knoll Guard. So what we're going to do is they all need to roll an they resist 8, but they're using their swords, so they're strike value 1. So they need to roll sevens, and the horses are strike value 1 too. So they're one hand to hand and strike value 1. So everybody needs to roll or Pack Lord Varric and his guard have to roll a 7 or under. So we're looking for 7 and unders. We'll do the guard first. He passes, he passes, he passes. He doesn't take any damage. Okay, now we're going to go with Varric. 7s or under, that's a fail, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't re-roll that either. When you roll a 10, that's like bad. You can't re-roll a 10 or a 1. He's good. He's good. He's good. He's good. So he's going to automatically take 1 wound from that because you can't re-roll the 10. So that's going to give him a wound, but that also counts as a pin. So wounds that count as pins never come off. He can never lose that pin. It'll be a permanent pin on the unit because of his wound. And he's wound 3, I do believe. I'm going to double check. But Varric is wound 3. No, I'm sorry. He's wound 2. So he can take 1 more and then another one after that. He's done for. So we're going to give him a wound marker, and they're going to take another pin. The pins make a big difference in the game, right? So they're up to 3 pins now, and Pack Lord Varric's taking a wound here. He got hurt, but they get to fight back. So we're going to do Pack Lord Varric. They get on this follow-up fight. We're going to get a follow-up fight, and they get to tussle with the knights some more. And get this in line here. There we go. We got Pack Lord Varric and his bodyguard. All right. And once again, they're strength 6. Yep, they're strength 6. I'm sorry, the Varric's strength 7, not 6. So just want to make sure he's strength 7. So we need Varric. Varric needs 7s, 7 and under, and the Knoll Guard needs a 6 or under. So that's going to be a miss. That's going to be 2 hits for Varric. And that's going to be 3 hits total because the Knoll Guard needed a 6 and Varric needed a 7. So that's going to be 2 hits there, and we have to allocate hits. We'll give the 2 hits to Sir Guilford Reynold, the Earl, and we'll give 1 to the other knight. So we're looking at 9s for Guilford. Once again, a 9, -2, because the big axe is strike value 2. So we're looking for 7 and unders for Guilford. Once again, he's tough 2. He can re-roll these unless he rolls a 10. 7 or under, he does it with a 7 and a 3. So he's good. He doesn't take anything. Bounces off of his armor again. And the knights, the 1 knight. Let's give it to. Let's see who we got here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me roll D4. One is his lordship Sir Goslin. 2 is the Honorable Sir Nodfrey of Reynold, his second son. 3 is Sir Ulic, Marshal of Greyhawk, and 4 is the Constable of Walworth, Sir York. Okay, it's going to be Sir Ulic, the Marshal of Greyhawk. So he still needs their resist 9 -2 is a 7. He needs to roll 7 or under. 7 or under. A 1, no problem. Well, they win that combat again. So the Knolls have to make another break test, right? Because they lost that combat, and now they need to roll a D10 minus their pins against their command stat. And since the Knoll Chieftain or Pack Lord Varric is an 8, minus pins 8, 7, 6, 5. He has to roll a 5 or under on this. Oh boy, a 10. And he can't re-roll that, but there's nothing that would allow him to do that. They are going to immediately take D6 pins, 3. They're going to take 3 more pins immediately, which is not good for them. Not good for them at all. And now they are considered routed. They're going to get a run order. I take their dice out of the bag, give them a run order, and they make a full 2-movement run as directly as possible towards the table edge which they came on, towards its own table edge. So we're looking at 10 inches. And this might take him off the table. Oh boy. Ooh. Well, let me bring the camera over here so everybody can see what I'm doing. So yeah, Varric got to make a. He failed that big time. Ooh. Oh well, there you go. There's 6 pins on them. They take the run order, and they have to move directly back 10 inches. This puts this model off the table. They're routed. They're gone. Varric's out. Pack Lord Varric has fled the scene. He said, the people inside the church are not worth it. They're not worth it. He'll live to fight another day, but he was routed off the table. Routed off the table. That's a big, big loss for the Knolls, right? Big loss for the Knolls. Now, Guilford's unit gets to consolidate, which is what they'll do. And they're going to move. They get to move 8 inches back from where they were at to set up perhaps for another charge. Let's see. That's a major, major victory and much honor for Guilford and his knights over there. Yeah, I mean, Pack Lord Varric would have been right on the edge of the table, but the other model in the unit was off the table, so the whole unit's off the table. So we're going to get them back to where they were at. And I'm using Guilford because the other knights, even though they're like surrounded, they surrounded them. They piled in sort of, but they were all going to attack. So for the visualization, that's what I did. And the banner, they grabbed the banner and they took off. Well, he'll live to fight another day. We'll probably see Varric back again. This isn't over yet. So these knights will go back to here, and they're going to line up with Guilford. And fantastic work by them. They've suffered nothing, no damage. Okay, here we go. Back to the bag. Knolls. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, given that he ran off the table, given that their packmaster, the North Chieftain, bailed on these guys, which is not uncommon for chaos, right? Chaos units, they do that sort of thing. I think the Knoll Guard are going to try to break down that door and see if they can make an effort to get the people out of the church. I got 3 units. I got 3 miniatures that are within an inch of the door. So those 3 are going to make a check to see if they can boot the door down. We have to make a an order test first. So I'm sorry, yeah. So what I did was initially I had said that they have to use their whole turn. What I meant by that was they'll take their die, decide what they're going to do, right? But they can't attack or shoot. They can only knock down the doors. So they're going to advance. They're going to see how many. I'm going to see. We'll give them an advance order. They don't need to make a test because there's no pins on them, and we're going to just maneuver these guys and get as many within an inch to be able to hit that door. So we're gonna bump these up. He'll be within an inch. He'll be within an inch. See if I can get most of the unit to do what they need to do. So yeah, all these gnolls are going to try to break down the door. So they took an advance order. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, fives. We need fives. Fives or sixes in order to take down the structure points on the door. Let's see what we got going. So here's 1, 2. Okay, one structure point's gone. 2 structure points gone. And 3 structure points are gone. All right, well, these gnolls aren't messing around. So the door initially had 6 structure points, if I'm correct, right? Let me take a look. Yeah, yeah. They had 6 structure points. So the door loses 3 structure points. It takes that door down to 3 left. So we'll put that over here by the door to represent the door. 3 structure points off the door. If they lose 1 more structure point, it takes that door down to 2, which will give the gnolls a big boost. And that's it for those gnolls for now. So we go back to the bag. And it's gnolls. I think we're going to have... let's take a look over on this side. Move my coffee cup out the way. So we're going to look at... I think it's time for Ignar to get into the fight. Ignar the Face Ripper. I think he's going to do a run order. He's going to attack these. He's going to attack Sargosset's knights over here. He turns towards them, and he's coming at them full force. He makes the run order, and they fight. So let's see what's going to happen here. I'll move this tree out the way so we can do both. So we can see this, and I'll bring in the die tray as well. So we're going to go back over to the dice, back over to the die tray, and we are going to... So we have Ignar the Face Ripper. He has tough 3. He's wound 3. He's a hero. Hero gives friendly units within 10 inches can use his initiative value for reaction tests. He's 3 hand to hand, and he also has a big axe with a strike value 2 and light armor. So he's going to be He's going to be 3 attacks, right? He's tough 3 too, so that's pretty good. Anyway, he is going to get 3 attacks. He is strength. Let me double check his strength real quick. He's strength 7. Gnoll champion is strength 7. Yeah, he's the same as the Pack Lord or the Varric. He's the same as Varric, so he is strength 7. So we're going to roll. He needs to roll a 7 or under on Gosset's unit. He misses with the 10. They can't do anything about that. So there's 2 hits on that unit. And we're going to give them to Sir Gosset. Where are you? Here he is, Sir Gosset. So Sargosic's unit, the whole unit has Zealous, which they ignore pins when taking a break test and reroll a failed order test. They ignore the pins when taking a break test and reroll failed order test. Plus, all of my units, all of the Knights units, because they're fighting for people in the church, they once a game in this game they can reroll as well. You can't reroll in this game, so that's just how it is. They're fighting with swords, strike value 1, +1 strength, heavy armor, which gives them a resistance of 8, and the knight leader is tough, so he can reroll 1 failed resist test. So we're going to give 1 to him, and you know what? I think he's going to, yeah, because you have to spread it out, and 1 to the regular, 1 to one of the other 4 knights. So we're going to go with Sir Gossett himself. He needs to roll 8 -2 because the big axe is strike value 2. He needs to roll a 6 or better, but he gets to re-roll this. A 2, no problem. Gossett takes it like a champ. Once again, we go to 8 with the other 4 knights because they're heavily armored. 8 -2 is a 6. He needs to roll a 6 or under, and they make it too. So they don't take any damage. Now the knights get to fight back, right? So we're going to have 5 knights altogether. Sir Gossett doesn't have any. He has 1 streak. He can only strike once. He's using his swords, so they're all strength 6 because they're using swords, which is a +1 strength and strike value of 1. And here we go. Sir Gossett's unit. They're looking for 6s and under for hits. Nope, nope. Real bad. Okay, the other 3 are hits. Let's see if they can put any damage onto Ignar. Ignor's tough too. He can re-roll 3, up to 3 failed resist tests. So he can re-roll all of these, right? He can re-roll all of these, unless he rolls a 10. You can't re-roll a 10 or a 1. You can't do anything with those. And he's wound 3 as well. So let's see what we get. So we're looking at a resist of 8, but they are strike value 1. So we're looking for 7s or under. Yes, yes, yes. All right. It's a mutual combat. Nobody wins it. Ignore and Gossett's unit square off. They square off, and it's a draw. It's a draw. So neither side wins. Neither side wins. And what that means is if both the sides have the same number of pins, then both are defeated and both must take a break test. That's for something different. I'll double check it though and find out. So because Ignar and Sir Gossett's unit, they have no pins, they can choose to consolidate, or they can both choose to fight another round of combat. And in this particular case, Sir Gossett wants to press the fight. So we have to find out if Ignar, the face ripper, he has to agree. He has to decide whether he wants to continue the fight or not. So I have a special chart here that I used for doing. It's a fate chart, right? I use this fate oracle chart. All right. So normally you roll. Normally you roll 3 dice. Okay. However, when you look at the probability, what's the probability to ignore the face ripper just wants to keep fighting? Okay. I think that it's extremely likely. So I'll roll 3 additional dice. So I'm going to give Ignar 3 additional dice, right? Okay. Now, how this works is you roll 3 additional dice. Any pluses are added to the first 3 dice, right? So let's go over here to the table or go over here to the die box. So this is Ignar's 3 dice. He's looking for positives to fight, right? And then he's got these 3 extra, and I only if there's positives in here will I count them. So we're going to do this. Okay, these cancel each other out, and that's a neutral. So right now it's decided that it's intermediate. Maybe yes, maybe no. It's unclear. And then I got to roll these, and I only count positives if I get any. Yes, Ignar wishes to continue to fight. So we're going back to the combat between the two of those units, and we're going to do it all over again. So we have the 4 knights going. Nobody won the combat, so they don't get any pluses. I'm sorry, 5 knights. They are looking for 6 and unders with their swords. Oops. They're looking for 6 and under. Oof. They hit with everything. Wow. That's a smashing hit on them. 6 or unders. And then we're looking for resist 8, but because they're using swords, we're looking for a resist of 7. We need to roll 7 or under for Ignar. He has to roll 7 and under on these. Ignar, I think he just got punched right in the face. He needs 7s or under. 9's a fail. Another 9 is a fail. 7 or under. These he makes. He gets through those, but he takes 2. So he takes 2 wounds. So we're gonna go. We're gonna put. So he's gonna take 2 wounds. So we'll mark that right now. And each wound is a pin. So he's got 2 wounds right here coming up. But he gets his 3 attacks, right? All right. So let's see what's going on with him. How good he does. Here comes Ignar's. Got his 3 dice. Ignar is strength 7. He needs to roll 7 or under. He hits with all 3. So we're going to give 1 to 1 knight. We're going to give these 2 to any one of the other knights. And then we're going to give it to the knight leader, Sir Gossett of East Fork. Okay. And they're all resist 8 minus 2 is 6, right? So we're going to do Gossett first. Sir Gossett first. He needs to roll 6 or under because the axe is strike value 2 and his armor is an 8, so he needs a 6 or under. And he gets to re-roll this unless he rolls a 10. He does it. He makes it. No problem. Gossett's still around. These 2 knights have to roll 6 or under, or 2 knights are gone. Okay, we lost. This is successful. We lost another. We lost the knight and got a pin. So let's go back over to here to show the fight. I'll bump this up a little bit. So we have 2 wounds because he's wound 3 and 2 pins. And then we have Sir Gossett's unit lost a knight. We lost our first knight, and they're going to take a pin for that loss. But guess what? We won the combat. Not that that matters at all. So it does matter because now Ignar has to make a. We put 2 pins and 2 wounds on Ignar. He lost the combat because we only lost 1 knight. We got 1 pin. He's got more pins. Ignar has to make a break test. So he needs to roll a. For him, he needs to roll a. What's his break? So we're looking at his command 8. So he's 2, 8. He has to make us. He has to roll 6 or under, or he is. Let's see what happens first. 2, no problem. Okay, he's fine. So Ignar's fine, and now we consolidate. Everybody gets, if you can move up to 8, or they're 5. So these guys will move back. We'll move Sir Gossett's unit back first. Let's see here. We got Gossett coming back. He's going to come back to 5. Yeah. So 5. Yeah, that's right. 5. Ignar is going to Ignar is going to move back just a little bit because he's just going to continue to. They get that's an advance for them. Sir Gossett, Ignar, and I am missing one of my dice. And we got they don't get an advance order. That was part of Ignar's combat. I'm sorry, I was mistaken. That's right. So that was part of his combat. Ignar attacked the knights. They had a follow-on combat, and then everybody consolidated. So yeah, the knights didn't even get to go yet. So they're going to be able to fight again if they want to. They'll be able to continue the fight. Knowles, however. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to go over. We're going to go over to the archers. They're going to take a fire order, and they are going to fire on Yeoman Hod's unit. They're going to take a fire order, fire on Yeoman Hod's unit of glaives. So we'll get that going here. No archer units, right? They're accuracy 4. Accuracy 4. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over there on Yeoman Hod's unit. So we'll go. Let's see if I can get everybody in here and get the dice tray. So we're looking for 5s or under, but because they're taking a fire order, it's sort of like an aim shot. Okay, they get a +1 because they didn't advance. So they're looking for 5s and under on Hod's unit. Hit, 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 hit. Hod's unit takes 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. He's going to try to keep those. He's going to try to. Those archers are going to try to keep Hod's unit away from the Null Guard breaking down the door. So Yeoman Hod's glaives took 4, and we're going to give 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this one's going to be for the Yeoman Hod himself, and he's tough. He can reroll a failed resistance. He resists 5, so he needs a roll of 5 or under. No, and I can't reroll it. So Hod's dead. Or I'm sorry, Yeoman Hod. Yeoman Hod has been killed. Don't worry. Father Abuziel will say a prayer for him. So we lost Hod, and then we got 5s or under on these. Those bows don't have any type of bonuses to strike value or to strength. So they're looking for 5s or under to save. Okay, we lost 2 more. We lost 3. We lost 3 guys off this unit. 1. So we lost Hod. We lost 3 guys off this unit. They're gone. Or I'm sorry. That's an archery. That was not melee. So they only take 1 pin for losing those guys. If it was a combat, you get a pin for everybody lost in hand to hand. But this was shooting. This wasn't melee. So they only get 1 pin because for no matter how many hits or how many losses you had. And that takes care of the archers, the no archers for this turn. They did pretty good. They did pretty good. See what's up next. Knights. All right. So, what do we have here? Sir Hodwit's just seen his friends get whacked with an arrow. just get an arrow storm upon them. So Hodwis is going to charge those archers. His 5 knights, they can move 10. They can't sprint because they're heavily laden. So they can run. Let's see if I can get somebody within 10. If I can get one guy within 10 of an archer. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Okay. So they're well within 10. They don't have any pins because they couldn't sprint to begin with. And they're coming after these. They're going up, and they are, as I'm knocking everything around here, they're charging into this unit here. They took a fire order. They took a run order. Sir Hodwish's unit. So we're looking at 5 knights. Their strength sits because they're using their swords. They're heavily armored. Hodwitz himself is tough, and hopefully he won't get no, yeah, he's tough, so he'll be able to on the return combat. Unless he rolls a 10 like poor Yeoman Hod did, right? Yeoman Hod, he's out. So we got strength 6. The entire unit is zealous. They ignore pins when taking a break test or rerolled fail tests. Oh, I got to check one thing. Yeah, that doesn't apply. That's just for morale checks. They can only reroll. So we're looking at strength 6 going after the gnolls. 1 hit, 2 hits, miss, hit, miss. So we got 3 hits on the gnoll archers. They resist 7. Because they're using swords, they're now resist 6. They got to roll 6 or under. Pass 2, they lost 1. So that's going to be 1 casualty for the gnolls. So we'll put that over here. That's for the gnolls. They took 1. The gnoll archers also have swords that they revert for. They're going back to. There's 5 of them. For the return combat, for the return strikes against the knights, their strength 6, and here we go. They have to roll under a 6. That's cocked. We'll reroll that. It's a hit, 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 miss. So the knights took 4 hits. However, the knights are resist 8, so now they're resist 7 because the gnolls are using swords in hand to hand. So they need to roll. See, we got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to give 2 to Sir Hodwis. I'm sorry, no, 1 to Sir Hodwis and 3 to the other knights. So we'll do Sir Hodwis first. Sir Hodwis needs to roll 7 or better, 7 or under. He's fine. Hodwis is fine. And then the other 3 knights, we need to roll 7 or under as well. Yes, and they're all good. So the no archers lost that combat. Go over here real quick. The no archers lost that combat. They lost an archer. They took a pin. And now they need to make a break test because they lost the combat. The break test minus 1 pin. Archers are command 8. 8, 7 or under is what we're looking for them. Am I right? Yeah, command 8, 7 or under. 6, they're good. Now, because the knights won that combat, they want to press on with the attack since they won. Now because they won the combat, they're going to get a +1 to this combat, and we're going to go back to the die tray, and we got our knights with 4 knights, 5 knights. Sorry, 5 knights. They are strength 6. Because they won that combat, they're strength 7. Hit, 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 and 2 misses. The Knoll Archers are resist 6 because they yes, to resist 7. -1 for the swords makes them resist 6. They have to roll 6 or unders. 6 or under. No, no, yes. So they took 2 more casualties. However, they get to fight back. And there's only 4 of them this time. They get to fight back. Their strength 6 with swords. Hit, 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 hit. They got 4 hits. So we're going to give 1 to Sir Hodwis of Valuna and 3 to the other knights. So we're going to do the knight leader first. We're going to do Hodwis's. He gets, because he's tough. So he can re-roll this. And he needs to get a 7 or under because he's resist 8 with the heavy armor, -1 because of the sword, and each of the 7. A 3, he makes it. The other 3 knights, they need to roll 7s or under as well. Okay. 1 does not make it. 1 does not make it, so the knights they're going to have a casualty as well, but they won this combat, so we're going to go back over to here. We lost a knight, and they lost 2, and they're going to take another break test. So let's go over here and take these models away. These guys lost 2 more models. They took 2 more pins, and then we lost this knight, and Hodwis took a pin. They took a pin. So here we have it that they lost the combat, so therefore they take another break test. This time they're going to be -3 because of those pins, which makes it even more difficult. So their command stat is an 8 with the pack master in there, and they need to roll 8, 7, 6, 5. They need to roll a 5 or under, or they're going to break. They're going to rout and take more pins. They needed to roll a 5 or under. They rolled a 6. They are now routed. Well, as I was. They immediately take D6 pins. Uh-oh. 7, 8, 9. 9, that's 6, plus the 3 they have, which makes it 9. And that is 1 over their command. And that unit is off the table. They've been defeated. They're gone. So Hodwis, man, he's stepping up. He did it. That's another unit gone. We're going to have to double check a few things because the Knolls have lost quite a few units here. And we're going to have to see what they're going to do from here on out. So we'll take a peek at that in just a moment. So yeah, those archers are gone. It's an automatic break for them. And now Hodwis's unit gets to consolidate. They can move back. They get a 5 move. I'm sorry, yes, Sir Hodwis. So they're gonna get an advance order after doing their job, and they are going to, of course, took a pin. This is like a free consolidation. Where is Hodwis? There he is. So he's gonna go back here, and nobody's gonna be allowed to go further than him. So Hodwis is gonna be here, and everybody else has to be at least back here by him. Once again, I move them up in such a way to surround the other unit. But we're just going to do it this way. Nobody's beyond Hodwis, so it's a fair advance back. We'll have to toy with it. We'll put that here so everybody can see. And that's that. Now, this is a problem for the Knolls because over here we have that routed. We have the routed archery unit, and it's a problem because if this Knoll unit in the back, if the Knoll archery unit flees the field, that's going to take the Knolls to 5 dice off the table. That's going to be more than half of their strength. So the game usually ends either when objectives are reached for either side, one side is depleted below half strength, or 6 turns have elapsed and neither side has broken yet. You roll a d6, and 1, 2, 3 will end the game, and 4, 5, 6 you go one more round. But right now, this unit cannot rout off the table, or the Knoll force would be broken. And so with that, we're going to the bag. All right, we got knights.
Rise to the challenge.
So Sir Cratch's unit, seeing them trying to break into the church, that's just not going to fly. So Sir Cratch's unit is going to take a run order. However, they have a pinned, right? So they're going to have to make an order test. They're going to have to make a order test to see if they're able to take that action or not. The whole unit is zealous, so it only ignores pins when it takes a break test. You can reroll and reroll failed order tests. So just to double check on that to make sure for zealous. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, though. Yeah, you can reroll failed order tests. So with one pin for those guys, Sir Cratch is command 8 -1. He has to roll a 7 or under to take that order. He does it. He gets to re-roll it because of the zealous roll. 6. He makes it. So they're going to be able to follow that roll after taking the zealous. Using their zealous, they were not going to do it. And he's like, let's go. We can get them out of the church. Keep them away from the church. So they do a run order. They run up. And they smash into these Knolls. Smashing into the door. For the shield lands, give them a run order. Sir Cratch, move that up a little bit, but take a better look at the combat. Here we go. And they pile in on that are up there. The Knoll Guard are completely unaware that Ignar bailed off the field already, but they're just sticking to their mission, what they're supposed to be doing here. Showing a lot of moxie with that Knoll Guard. So we are doing a charge. All right. They're strength 5 because they're using their lances. There's only 4 of them. Keywords once again for the unit, or at least for the only difference between the Sir Cratch of Furiandy has the tough roll. He has the same. All of the knights have the same thing. They're fast 8, one hand to hand. They're using a sword that gives them a strike value of 1 and a strength +1 strength. They have heavy armor, war horses, and they're using their lances, so they get a +3 strike value this turn while charging into the Knoll Guard. So we go back over here to the die bin. That's for the knights. We got 4 war horses coming in, and the war horses are strength 5 as well. There's the 4 war horses coming in. Now they charge, so they get a +1. So Sir Cratch's unit gets +1 for charging, which gives them a strength of 6. So instead of 5s, they're at 6 for +1 for charging. So we're looking for 6s for the knights and 5s for the war horses trampling. Okay, the four horses only hit with one, 5 or under. The knights are hitting with sixes. These tens are bye bye, and they hit twice. So there's 3 hits there coming in on the Knolls. The Knolls are tough, or the Knoll Packmaster is tough. The unit has light armor and huge axes. So you're looking at a resistance of 8. There's going to be 3, so the Packmaster will give 1 to the Packmaster, and we'll give 2 to the other Knolls. 2 others. And I'm giving 1 to the Packmaster because the Knoll Packmaster has tough, and he gets to re-roll it if he fails it. So let's do the Packmaster first. Packmaster needs an 8 or under. He makes it. And then the other two Knolls need an 8 or... Oh, I'm sorry. No. Packmaster rolled a... He needs an 8 or under, but he's... their strike value... Yeah, the Warhorse. The Warhorse went against the... This is the Warhorse. The Warhorse went against it. So he did make it. He did make it, as I was. Now, the other two are going to be on normal group, normal Knoll guards. They need an 8 or better. -3 from the lances is 5. They need 5s or better, 5 or under. This one makes it, but they took 1 casualty. So we'll grab a pin and put that in there. That's for the Knolls. Now the Knolls get the fight back. We'll give that to the Knolls. We'll take that off of them in a minute. That's for the Knolls. The Knolls, there's 5 Knolls. They get the fight back. All right. They are strength 6. They're using the huge axes. They're at strength 6. They need a 6 or under against the Knights. All of them get to attack, even if they lost 1. So this is a fail, fail, fail. 6 or under. Those 2 hit the Knights. We're going to give 1 to Sir Cratch, and then we're going to give 1 to a... we'll give that to... Let's give it to Sir William of Jensel. He'll take the other one. So we'll do Cratch first. Cratch, he's tough. He's resistance 9, -2 for the huge axes. He needs a 7 or better, and he gets to re-roll this. 5, he's fine. Sir Cratch is fine. Now, Sir William of Jensel, he needs to roll the same thing. He needs to roll a 7 or under. He does not get to re-roll this. Yeah, 7 or better, and he doesn't get no re-rolls. A 10, and he can't re-roll it. We just lost our first knight. We lost Sir Jensel. Jensel and his banner are down. We lost him. He's gone. And the Knolls lose. They take a pin. 1 of the Knolls is gone. Now that's significant because Jensel's unit, because of the number of pins they have on them, they lost that combat. So they're going to have to make a break test. The good thing is they have quite a few benefits for their break tests, right? Because they're zealous. They ignore pins when making a break test. And they're command 8. So let's go back over to here. I've already taken off the minis. Jensel was removed and 1 Knoll was removed. Jensel was here. He's been removed, and a Knoll back here was removed. They have 2 pins. They have 1. They lost the combat. Sir Cratch's unit, because they're zealous, they can ignore pins when taking break tests. and they're taking their break test right now. And let's see here. They need an 8 or under, right?
Rise to the challenge.
A 6. They're fine. So they have no adverse effects from that, losing that combat. Now, question is, the Knolls won the combat. Are they going to continue the combat since they won? Yeah, so we're going to decide whether or not the Knolls, once again, we're going back to my fate chart, right? So we're going to see. I would say that the Knolls are. We'll roll and find out. We got this is the Knolls' normal roll, and I would say since they won that combat, that they would be likely to continue it. And these two dice will only count for positives. So we'll see what happens. Let's see if the Knolls want to continue this fight or not. Okay, looks like yes. 1, 2, 3. This cancels one of them out, and that's a neutral. So we have 2. So that's a clear yes. So the Knolls want to continue the fight, and we go with one more round of combat. Now the Knolls get a +1 to hit. There's only 4 of them this time. The Knolls get +1 to hit because they won that combat. So they are strength 6. They're now strength 7 because of that. The no guard unit. So looking for 7 or unders on Cratch's unit. 7 or unders. Instead of 6, they're +1 because they won the last round of combat. 7 or under. All right, they hit with 3. Sir Cratch's unit, once again, their strike value 7 because their resistance is 9. They're using the Knolls are using huge axes. It's their strike value 2. So they're down to a 7. You have to roll 7 or under. We are going to give one of those to Sir Cratch and 2 other knights. So we'll do Sir Cratch first. He's tough. He gets to roll 7 or under. He gets 2 shots at it. 6. He's fine. Sir Cratch is good, and these guys need to roll 7 or under. Double 5s, and they're good. Now they get the fight back against the Knolls. The Knolls don't get anything. Now the Knights are down to 3 fellas, and they are using their swords, which they get their strength 6 again because they're normally strength 5 with the lances. They're strength 6 with swords, and their strike value of the swords are only a plus or is only a 1 this time. And I got to include 3 war horses as well because Sir William's horse has fled. So you have the war horses are gray, and then red we have the knights. The war horses are looking for 5s, and the knights are looking for 6 or under. 5s and unders and 6 and unders. All the knights hit. War horse misses, and only 1 war horse. So we're going to give 1 to each of them. 1 to each. Okay, so we're going to give 1 to each of those no guard unit. The no guard unit are resist 8. So the war horses are strike value 1, 2. So they're going to get. We'll do the war horse first. We're looking for an 8. We're looking for a 7 or under for the Knolls to survive without taking any damage. 7 or under. So yeah, 7 or under. A 10. So they're going to take the war horse trampled one of them. The war horse trampled 1. And then we have 7 or unders on these as well because they're strike value 1. So we need 7 or unders on these. One of these is going to be able to be re-rolled because it's the leader. All right, that can't be re-rolled, so that's another one down. They make it. These 2 make it. So we'll do this one's going to be the leader. Then we're going to see if. Oh, I can't. It's a 10. Yeah. So the leader lives, and another one lives, but they lost 2. Yeah, they can't reroll. It's a 10. You can't reroll a 10. So they're going to take. They actually lost that combat now. The knights got upset. They fought with great vigor because of Sir William of Gensel going down as a fatality. So the they're going to lose two more gnolls. That's less gnolls knocking down the door, which is a good thing. One, come on, two, and they took their other two pins here. They lost the combat. They need to make a break test, and the Gnoll Guard unit Packmaster has a command of 8. So you're looking at 8 minus 8. You're looking at 8 or under minus 1, 2, 3, 8, 7, 6, 5. He has to roll 5 or under. They're broken. 3. They do it. They're fine. Now we consolidate. The Knights lost the first combat, won the second one. Let's see. Okay, so the Gnolls, they'll stay with their advance order. They're going to continue to knock down this door because they don't know that the Pack Lord's gone, and they're afraid if they don't do what they're supposed to do, they're going to get smushed. And the Knights are going to move back 5 to prepare for another charge and to rearm themselves. So we'll change this dice to an advance. Sir Cratch and the crew are moving back 5. To where they were at. And bring their pins back here. Give them the advance order and their marker. And that's that. That's that unit done. All right, we lost a knight, man. We lost Sir William of Gensel. Well, we may see him again. We got to roll on our special table at the end of the scenario. So as it stands right now, we're going back to the bag to see who's up next. Knights again. Oh yeah, I got to move these off the table. They're gone. All right, who do we have left over here? I don't think I'm going to move Hod's unit. I think we're to go with Yeoman Odo and see if they can finish off Ignar over here. So Yeoman Odo is going to take. Let's see if they're beyond 10 inches, the nearest model. Yeah, so they're at short range, so they're not going to take a. Let me see here. They all get a good shot at him. You know what I think I might do? Let's get Utha's long spearman up there on Ignar. That's a 10-man unit. They're just going to run in there and they're going to try to spear Ignar the Face Ripper and take him out. So we're going to give them an advance order or a run order. And they are well within. They get that order because they don't have to make a test because they already have no pins. They're going to pig pile on him. They're all coming up. They surround him. And they are all going to be jabbing him with spears. We'll move this out of the way. They pile in. Uther's unit takes a run, and they're going to pile in on Ignar the Face Ripper. So Yeoman Uther runs up with his crew, his long spears, and they are going to try to put the hurt onto Ignar. And then once again, Ignar's going to get the fight back. So obviously he's already taken out one knight. Or Gossett's unit, yeah? Yeah. So Ignar is no pushover, but this could be a big deal here. So we're going to go with Yeoman Uther. Let's go over here to the dice tray real quick. So we got Yeoman Uther's long spears. Yeoman Uther himself is tough. The whole unit, all 10, have cudgels in addition to long spears, which are strike value 1, but don't give them a strength bonus, just a strike value bonus. They're surly, which means they cannot benefit from command, hero, or a follow rule. It's these peasants, they're hard to control. But the long spears give them strike value 1. They cancel the attacker's charge bonus. So if Ignar was to charge them, the spears would negate his +1 to his strength for a charge. So that's what it is. But the cudgel doesn't offer anything, the cudgels offer nothing, but they're using their long spears. So we're looking at 10. We are at strength 5. They're at 5s. They get a +1 for charge, gives them a 6. We're looking for 6s and under onto Ignar. 6s or under. No, 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 no. They did pretty good though. That's 50%. 6 or under. It hit him. They just jabbed him. It was like a wall of spears charging in at Ignar, and he couldn't back up. He starts screaming and yelling. He's already taken 2 wounds. Ignar's tough 3. He's wound 3. So he can take additional wounds. So yeah, they're gonna have to hit him twice out of this in order to kill him. He's got 1 more wound he can lose. And then they need 1 more. Now Ignar the Face Rippers, he is resist 8 because he is wearing light armor. And the long spears are strike value 1, which bumps his resist down to a 7. So he needs to roll 7s or better on this save. 7s or better. That's good, 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 good. All right, none of the spears were able to penetrate him. That's not good for Yeoman Uther, because Ignar is going to get his face-ripping revenge upon them. He is strength 7. He's 3. He's 3 hand-to-hand with the big axe. So we're looking at strength 7, 7 or under for the return fight. Let's see what happens here. Okay, they all hit. So Uther they resist 5, 5, 4. They resist 5. Yeoman Uther's long spearmen are resist 5, -2 for the big axe. You have to roll 3s or under in order to survive. 3 or under. Okay, that did pretty good. Uther's men are more skilled than I thought. So they lose 1 guy. They lose 1 fella. Okay. But they lost 1 guy. So he's going to go over here. He's going to go over here with the casualties for now. And then they're going to take a pin because they lost somebody. But Ignar's number of pins are 2. They have 1 pin, so they're going to win that fight, right? And that means Ignar has to take a command test, or he's going to have to make a break test to see if he sticks around or not. And he is at 2 pins, so this might have scared him off. So he needs an 8, 7, 6. He needs to roll 6 or under. 6 or under, or he's routed. A 3, he's okay. So, however, So it says the close combat results are like this. The side that has the greatest number of pins once hand-to-hand fighting is finished is defeated. And it says here, and he already took his break test, but it says here that he says, note that we're talking about the total number of pins, including any already on the unit when the fighting began, as well as those inflicted during the fighting itself. So a unit that begins a fight with a large number of pins is likely to lose, even if it gets better results from the fighting itself. So he did lose, and so that means the yeomen can decide to do another round of battle or not. And now the yeomen are going to decide whether they're going to continue, and they are. You got the knights. You got Sir Gossett right behind them, cheering them on to continue the fight and taking him out. This would be a great victory for the yeomen if they're able to do it. So they're going to do that. They still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. So they have a pretty good chance of taking that Ignar. They're going to continue the combat, and we'll see what the results are here. They need to do 2 wounds to him to take him down, though. So let's see if they can roll as good as they did before. So 2, 4, 6. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they're going to do it, and they're going to try to get. Once again, we're back to normal combats again. Now they're not getting the plus to the charge, so that's going to make a big difference for them because now they're strength 5s with these spears instead of strength 6. So we're looking for 5s or under for you, Utha. Yeoman Utha's long spearman. 5s are under. No, 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 no. So they only get 2 hits this time. They only get 2 hits. And now, actually, it's 6 or under. So I have to go back and check what the rule was. So they get 2 hits. Ignars resist 8. The spears are strength value 1. So he needs to roll 7 or under with his spears. 7 or under with his spears. He takes another wound. I'm sorry, you're the 9. He takes another wound from that. So this is Ignar's. He's tough 3. They only hit twice. So I'm going to give him. He gets to do the toughness. He gets to re-roll. I'm going to let him. The 1 missed, so he gets to re-roll the 1 hit. But I'm going to let him re-roll it twice because I attacked with 9 long spearmen instead of 8 like I should have. So I'm going to give him 2 chances here. He needs a 7 or under because the spears are strike value 1. 9's going to be a miss. A 10, and he couldn't re-roll that anyway. So he fails because of it. He fails his toughness check, and I gave him 2 shots at it for the 1 wound, and he failed it both times. I gave him an extra 1 because I had too many spearmen attack that turn. So it kind of evens out. All right. That's his last wound. He could take 1 more wound and he's down. But he also lost that well, he has to do his side of it. So that's his 3 wounds. The next wound's going to kill him. So I put on another pin in his last wound. And now Ignar Ignar is going to get his 3 attacks back on Yeoman Uther's unit. And he's going to need. He's strength 7, so he needs 7s, 7 or under. He's 3 hand to hand. So we got 1 hit, 2 hit, and a miss. Okay. Yeoman Uther's unit is resist 5, minus 2 for the axe. He needs 3s or under, or he's going to lose 2 more guys. No, Uther's unit loses 2 more. So Uther's unit's going to take 2 more pins, which ain't great. 1, 2. He'll take 2 more pins. 1, 2. Okay, now we're even for who won the combat, right? So it's a mutual combat because Ignar just got he got emboldened by what had happened. So because of that, it's going to be a draw. If both sides have the same number of pins, then both are defeated, and both must take a break test. We're required to do so. So we have to take a look at this break test. Break tests, of course, are taken when the units are defeated in close combat. They're both defeated. A test is indicated as a result on the damage chart, which we didn't use a damage chart. A unit is shot at and loses half its number. You have to do a break test, and when obligated to do so by a dint of a special rule that requires it. So if a unit's defeated in close combat, it must take a break test, unless it's an artillery unit once again. So if it's a draw, both sides have the same number of pins, and both are defeated. They both have to make a break test. So we're going to go with. Let me see over here what we got with. We'll do Yeoman Utha's. We're going to go with Yeoman Utha's unit first, and their command is 7 minus. Their command is 7 minus 3, 6, 5, 4. So they need to roll 4 or under. They don't benefit from command hero or fallen roll. So if they get routed, they get routed. So someone will have to make a. The yeoman may end up having to make a yeoman Odo's archers might have to save them from routing. But we're looking at 7, 6, 5, 4. 4 or under for yeoman Utha's unit. 8. Okay, so they immediately take. They failed that. They failed that test. So he has to take an additional D6 pins. Hopefully it's low, because Yeoman Utha's spears are command 7. 3. So they're still good as long as Utha's around. So they take 3 more pins. Okay, here's 3 more pins. Okay, so they're command 7, and right now they're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're considered routed. We'll give them a routed counter. And then they need to make a double move, a 10 move back. So we're going to move them right over here. Let's take a look, see here what we got. Those guys get to move 10. So I'll take the farthest one and I'll move him back to here. The other ones are just going to pile back here with him. That's a double move. I'm going to use him as the measuring stick I'll put a marker by him, but I'm moving these guys all back. Right. So the guy in the middle here is the one, that's Utha. So we'll measure from him back for the next move. Like if they don't get saved, I'll make sure I move him. I'll put the router market right by him. I'm going to put their pins by Utha. I'm going to give them a run order, and they are routed, and they maintain that routed status. And now we're going to go to Ignar. He has to make a check because he failed. He's at -3. Ignar is going to need, the old champion's going to need, he's command 8, 7, 6, 5. So he needs to roll a 5 or better, or 5 or under. Right? He needs to roll a 5 or under, or he's routed. See what we got here. A 4, and he does it. So he's good. He's not routed. He is not routed at all. So he passed. There's no further effect with him after his break test. So surviving units consolidate their. He's going to consolidate, and he's going to move 5 inches up here. Give him an advance order. He has 3 permanent pins. And there's Ignar. He got emboldened, man. Yeoman Uther tried, but he didn't make it. It didn't make it. And that concludes that. So we'll go back to the bag. Knights. As expected, as expected. They got a lot more dice in the bag right now then. So what we're going to do here is we got Yeoman Odo's unit here. Okay, so who can help here? I think Odo's unit's going to rally. He's going to rally. He's going to rally. These guys are going to get automatic. They're going to rally. It happens automatically if a friendly unit within 10 inches of a routed unit makes a rally action. So they're going to rally, and they're going to. It's not going to really help the archers, but they're doing it just to bring Yeoman Uther's unit back into line. So, which is a big deal for them, right? So we'll get them back in the action so they don't lose a unit off the table. After rallying, now they're going to rally the Yeoman Uthas are within 10 inches, and they can remove a D6 pins immediately, and then they can take a command test to determine if it halts the route. So they're going to roll here. This is for Utha's unit. See how many pins they get to remove. 4 pins. They get to immediately make take a test, and then they still have to make their command test, or they still have to make their they take a command test. They need to roll 5 or under here to get rid of their routed status. Uther needs a 5 or under because their command 7 -2 for the pins. 5 or under. A 6, they don't. They stay routed. Not good. Not good. So basically, the bowmen had used their turn and accomplished nothing. I feel a little bit of a shift here happening. Let's see. Knights. All right, shield knights. So what do we have left over here? Ah, well. Father Abuziel, in the name of Heronius, he looks down. He looks down the battlefield and he sees his bowmen trying to rally Yeoman Uther's unit. He's seen a knight lost. He sees Ignar the Face Ripper advancing across the field. And Father Abuziel and his supplicants and his clerics, he is not going to put up with that. He says, this will not be tolerated. This will not be tolerated. Let your blows be honest, your cause be just, and your mercy be earned. And with that, he is going to take an advance order. Let me see what his range are on his righteous bolt. Father Abuziel is going to cast Bolt of Righteousness, a flash of silver blue force manifest in a spectral spear, hurled by Heronius' judgment itself. It has a range of 20. Okay, so let's take a look at that and make sure we are within range. Oh yeah, no problem. Okay, it's sacred light, not fire. So Heronius's bolt of righteous steel comes out of Father Abuziel. Target one enemy model. He's going to target Ignar, of course. It automatically inflicts one auto hit at D3 plus his magic level, which is 1 strike value. Okay. And then he's going to have to make a break test. So we're looking at, and the break test is the big one. So we get this D6 out of the way. Let me grab my D3. It's D3 plus 1 strike value. So let's see what he gets here. All right, he's got 3 strike value of 3. So he lashes out with the bolt. He's not. He's going to take an advance order. So he's going to move. I forgot he's going to move 5. They don't have. He doesn't have. Father Abuziel doesn't have pins, so he doesn't have to make a test. But he did have to make a. He has to successfully make this before he does the bolt. But he moved up, and now then he cast the bolt. So you're looking at 3 strike value of 3. Ignar is resist 8, 7, 6, 5. Ignar has to roll a 5 or better here, 5 or under here, in order to not get killed. A 6. Oh my! Father Abuziel blasts him in the face with a blinding light with a sacred bolt in the face. Ignar takes his last wound, and he is out of the game. Goodbye, Ignar. What a great victory. Father Abuziel steps up, shows the knights to have faith. Have faith, he says, have faith. And now that is a big deal because now they are officially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dice down out of 9. So now they're technically broken at this point. So what we need to do right now is we need to see whether or not this continues. And I just want to double check it because I have some scenario rolls here that I'm using as well. The scenario objectives. Games are generally played until either one side is depleted below half strength, which the Mills are right now, or until 6 turns have elapsed, at which time we take that test to see. So the Knolls are broken. They are at half strength. Word gets out to the Knolls in front of the church that, in fact, their warlord has fled and that their champion has been defeated. And that is the going to be the end as the Knolls. We're going to roll for each unit, and this is important, right? Because we're going to roll for each Knoll unit, to see if they flee or if they're captured for interrogation. There's more to this. There's more to this force than's meeting the eye. Earl Guilford's realized that this is an organized force. Now, these Knolls are here because they were either. He doesn't think they're here as part of a war party to take over, to do anything here, like a normal assault on this village. They're looking to take prisoners and other things, and the warlord didn't stick around long enough to do anything. So he was either here on the orders of somebody else, something else was going on, or whatever. But they're going to have to come find out, and the only way they're going to do this is to take them back with their baggage train back to their camp, to Earl Guilford's camp, and find out and interrogate some of these Knolls if they can, of what's going on. And we do still have, don't forget, we still have the shaman over there. Now he's going to flee. They're not going to capture him. So all the Knolls in the back here, they're gone. They're off the table. We're just going to do that with them. So Inmore is going to be gone. He's off the table. Inmore the Desecrator is gone. These routed fellas are off the table. They're gone. Yeah, definitely. and his spirit animals are gone with him. He didn't have much of an impact there. Now these gnolls here, if these knights are within, if Earl Guilford's knights are within 10 inches, I'm going to roll to see if they get captured. So let me take a look. Yeah, no, 8 inches because they have a normal move of 8, and they could probably run them down. Yeah, so we're going to roll if they get captured or not, if they surrender. So we're going to look at. Let me get my fate dice out. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say that it is extremely likely. We're going to give that 3 extra dice, looking for positives. So I'm going to say that if we go over here. So here's their 3 dice. And then I'm going to say they're extremely likely to surrender and be captured. So we're looking for positives. Any positives? Positives. Okay, that's no. And then we get to see about this. Here's the extra dice. Counting only positive. No, they neutralize, and that'll be a no. So those balance each other out. That's neutral, and that's negative. So no, they don't surrender, and they don't get captured. So they're taken off the field. Let me double check that. Yeah, it's a mild no. No, but they're not captured, but the knights, let's say, because if you just roll, if it's just one negative, and if you look on the chart, it's one of those things, the fate chart, how the fate chart works. There's always like maybe an alternative. So in this case, they have one negative. So it's a mild no, no but. But let's just say that instead of that unit did not surrender and they still tried to flee the field, but they were eliminated by Sarkratch or Earl Guilford's unit, ran them down and took out most of them, let's say. So but they weren't captured for interrogation. So that's a big deal. They were not captured for interrogation. They were just removed. They just took off the field. So now we're going to go to. We have 2 gnolls sitting here in front of the church. Now we have to decide if they're going to surrender, and I would say that it's highly likely that they are going to surrender. So we're going to do that roll again. We're going to do that roll again here. All right. So this is going to be the normal. This is the normal roll, and then this is the normal roll. Oh my goodness! I would say, with 4 yeses. Yeah, I think that is an extreme yes. They drop their axes and they fall onto their knees and they are taken hostage. They are taken hostage by Earl Guilford's unit and Sir Cratch's unit. These guys have been captured. They're captured. Okay, so I'll clean this up and then we will go with the end game results for the next scenario. Because all of the leadership of the gnolls have gotten away. They're fleeing back, but not towards the Knowles Eye Socket. They're fleeing towards White Plume Mountain. All right, so that's a big thing. Guilford wasn't expecting to see them flee that way. And we'll pick it up from there. We'll pick it up in the next session here. It won't be long. We'll talk about a few things, things that I did in the game, things that for this scenario, um, certain mistakes were made. We ain't going to be able. These will go faster because we won't have to be going over the rules as much as we did through this. But it's really hard for people to watch a game and not really understand what's going on, especially if you're using if you're using abbreviations for different things and you don't know how the attacks are working. Or so I was doing my best to try to read the book or read some of the rules that I know, and I haven't played this in a few months, this Warlords era in a few months. So I was trying to make sure that you were able to follow along with what I was doing. So as this campaign continues, the next 2 or 3 scenarios, maybe 4, depending on how well the knights do, uh, we'll work out those. I'll work out those kinks, and it'll flow a lot better once we get into it. Like the next scenario will go a lot different. But the next video is going to be about we have to roll for the knights that were taken down, the named knights, to find out if they're coming back or not. We are going to have to decide on what intelligence they got from the gnolls that they've captured. This was a complete victory for them because they not only did they not get into the church, they routed the gnolls as well. It's just a major victory. We're going to go over honor points for what every unit did, to see if anybody got promoted or how many honor points could be used. So like whatever honor points they got in this game couldn't be used for this game, but they can use those honor points for the next scenario. And any honor points they get in the next scenario, they could use it for the next scenario. So that way it doesn't unbalance the game. So honor points, you could do a lot of things with honor points. But honor points, the way I use them is if you get them in this game, like for instance, Earl Guilford's unit charged and defeated single-handedly that unit of gnolls, gnoll warriors. That was worth 2 honor points. So they had 2 honor points. That way it doesn't unbalance the game. And I use it so that their honor points can be spent or looked at between scenarios. That way it doesn't unbalance the game in any way, right? It's the same thing like I did with Father Abuzio in declaring, like, normally arcane spellcasters can counter other arcane spells. So if you have let's say you have one wizard casting a fireball and a shaman casting a fireball, they can counter each other because they're both arcane spells. But when I introduced divine spells to the game, divine can only counter divine, and arcane can only counter arcane. So, but we'll talk more about that later. Thanks for tuning in for this one, and we'll go into the final talk. We'll go into the final discussion coming up to end the scenario. Check for the wounded, who died, who's severely wounded, who's coming back, because we did lose it. We did lose what looks like 2 knights over there. We'll take a look and see what's going on. All right, thanks again. Talk to you in a minute.